Hey friends, what's up? Kaz here. Welcome back to another server admin tutorial or bucket spigot plugin tutorial. If you're joining me for the first time, feel free to hit that subscribe button because I do these every week. If you have a suggestion of one you'd like me to do, feel free to comment that in the gibbles below and I will give you a shout out when I get to it, which it's going to be a while. I have quite a lot of requests, somewhere in the neighborhood of 500, and this one was actually not requested by any of you guys. It was requested by the author of it, by the name of Winter Guardian, and it's called Mob Racers, and it's super cool. And if you find this video helpful, please leave a like. That helps me out. It does work on 1.8. It requires Java 7 plus. It does kind of require Vault if you want to hook it into your economy, and it requires World Edit to select the area and the regions that, and you'll see that in action here. So use those. This plugin is insane. It does a lot of crazy things. There's 24 different mobs you can run. That runs items just like in Mario Kart. Has a DB support if you want to use this across your bungee cord, which is really cool. You can have it update the message of the day so it can run on its own server, so you can hook that into your bungee cord network. You have total control of every step of the way, which is really cool. Easily to translate to your language. It has a game currency, has an it has an achievement system. It does voting, spectators, scoreboards, titles, action bar, tab, header, footer, all that fun stuff. This is a sweet plugin, and it's basically like Mario Kart in Minecraft. So before we get into setting it up and then showing you guys how it works, which it's really cool, the permissions to do it are mobracers.play.vip. vip.vehiclename.vip.diskname.staff, which allows for arena creation. .admin, which is a lot more control, and then command protect bypass. So if you're an admin, you don't get blocked for commands while you're in a race, so you can do other things. And then .unlock all, which gives a user access to every vehicle, disc, all that stuff, which is really cool. Let's get into creating an arena. So the first thing you want to do is you want to set up your arena. This is Yoshi's Falls, I think, and it was built by, I can't remember the author. I'll put it on the screen here. The first thing you want to do is you want to select your arena here, or area, and then later on we're going to set our game arena, which I just put one size bigger. But side note on the wand, it only works on left and right click. You can't use the / POS1 or POS2. You have to use the left and right click on it. So once we have that created, we're going to do MR arena create test. So we're calling it test. Now this plugin is very cool. If you just do MR setup, it's going to tell you all the stuff that you still need to do to get this plugin running. You can even do our MR arena info test, and that's going to also tell you the things that you still need to do to get this arena up and running, which I think is really cool. And you can do MR setup help, and then all of this, the stuff is listed there of all the stuff that you need to do each step of the way, which is really nice. All right, so now we got to create the spawn points. We're only going to make like 5 of them because we'll just make 2 because we don't really need to make any more, but you can make a lot of them by doing MR arena add spawn, and then test is the name of the arena, and there we go, we have our arena name. Now you can also do reset spawns instead of add spawn, and then it will remove all the spawns and start over. And then you can also do MR arena show spawns, which show spawn, whoops, I forgot test. And that's going to put a armor stand where those spawns are, so it tells you where they are, which is really cool. So now we're just going to go around our arena. We're going to add the item boxes. MR arena add item test, and then test. Once again, you can reset that, and you could do delete item, and then we can also do show item. I think it's items. So now we can see those item boxes, which is really neat. Now we need to add a spectator area. These are left over from when I was testing, so we're going to remove those, and then we're going to add a couple spectator spots. Whoops. Oh well. MR arena add spectator test, and we're just going to add 2 of them, and then you can do the same thing where you can do show spectators, and then you can see the armor stands for those spectator spots, which is really neat. You can add a jukebox as well. I'm not entirely certain what the jukebox is for. It does play music, and you can tell it to play music, and I think that the users in the arena can change the music for each race if they want, if they have access to the discs, all that stuff. But we're going to kind of skip that one now. What you have to do is you have to go around your arena and add the checkpoints, which are like the lines that your users have to cross in order to progress on around the track. So if you have more than just a circular track, you'll want to do a lot more of these. The users don't see how many of these are, and it really doesn't change any performance things, but we're going to do... Well, actually, before we start with the first checkpoint, we got to start with the finish line. So we're going to set this finish line up, and we're going to MR Arena add line test. Now we're going to label this as line 0, so that is the finish line. That's how the plugin knows that that is the finish line, because it is line 0. And then we're going to go around and we're going to do line 1, so they need to cross that one first, and then we're going to kind of not do too many of them, and then we're going to do this one. This will be line 2, so they have to cross that second, and then we're going to make this line 3, I think. And then we'll make it pretty basic here. We're going to do all the way over here, and this will be line 4. So that's all your lines. What you can also do at this point is you can do MR Arena test lines, and now it's... test, I always forget. So now it's going to go through all of the checkpoints to make sure that there's no problems with them. It looks like one of them might actually be underground because there's space underneath there, but we're going to kind of just keep moving forward. The next part, you can also delete lines. So if we did find one that we messed up on and we know which one, you could just do delete line and then the number of that line that you'd like to delete. Now, the next part is we can modify the weather for the track. So if you want it to always be night and always be raining, or always daytime and not raining, or vice versa, whatever it is that you want, you can set that up in here. So we do MR Arena weather, and then our arena name. Now, what's the time that we want to set it to? So we want to set it to like 3,000 ticks, which I think is about the time of the day it is right now. And then we want to disable the daytime or day-night cycle, and then we want to disable rain too. So the weather will always be clear, and the weather's been updated. So the next part is we need to set the overall region of this arena or area. So we're going to select this one. Once again, you have to select it with your world edit. It will not work with the commands. All right, so now we got that area selected. So we're going to do MR Arena set region test. So that is set the region for our test arena or area or track, whatever you want to call it. The next part is you can then do a set author. You can set the author of the area. So we're going to do MR Arena set author test cause for Christ. And you can set the speed. Now this is kind of cool. You can see that we've put a couple colored blocks in here. So what you could do is, so this color, we can make this have a boost. We can have this have an extra boost, and then this one have a slowdown effect. So the command for that is MR Arena set speed test material ID, and then if it has a color, whatever that number is, and then the speed. So the speed can be plus or minus. So you can have +2, you have +4, you can have -2, -4, whatever it is. I'll go ahead and set that up off camera here, and then we can show you how that works in the game. So the next part is we want to set the laps. We got to MR Arena set laps test. We're just going to do 2 laps here. And then we want to set a time limit as well of 5 minutes so that they can't just lollygag. And then we can also change the regen delay. So there is a special in there of a bomb. So you could change how quickly it regenerates the track after it's blown up. And now we can do arena list, and we could see that arena, and now it is green. If you did that earlier, it would be red, which means it's not ready. So we do arena info test. Now we can see that the arena is ready to play on, but if we do MR setup, we could see that the lobby has not been set. So the next thing we need to do is set up the lobby. MR setup set lobby. So there we go, lobby is set. Now we need to set an exit. So this is when the players leave the game. It's got to be outside of the lobby region. So we're going to do MR setup set exit. We want to set our lobby region. So once again, wands tool, left and right click only works. And we're going to select that region, and then we need to set the region. So setup set region, and then if you don't put anything there, it's going to set the lobby region. And then the next thing we need to do is we need to set up the vehicle. We need to set at least one vehicle that they can select to choose this. Now the way this works is once the players are done joining and it's ready to start, the vehicle will show up and then they can right click on it to select it to use it. So you probably want to do this for every vehicle. We're going to do setup set vehicle minecart. And then what we want to do is we want to do MR setup vehicle list, and we want to see all the vehicles that we can set up, and then we're going to set a pig, I think. Pig, and then we'll do cow, just so we can see what that looks like. So that's it for setting up an arena, setting up your lobby, getting it started. Now we can see if we do MR setup, everything is ready to go. We can actually do /MR to join, or we could do MR space join to get that going. So before we do a demonstration, let's hop over to the config and take a look at that really quick. Okay, so here we are in the server configuration. Like you always do, you're going to plop that in your plugins folder, and then you're going to run mob racers. Like you see, there's not a whole lot running right here, and really none of it is required except Vault if you want to hook into your economy, and then World Edit obviously for selecting those areas. So we want to open up our mob racers. We have basically config and purchases in here, and then we'll talk a little bit about language. Language, you can modify any language in here, which is really cool. I love it when they do that. Like you can change the prefix to be whatever it is for your server, which I always like it when they do that. We're going to open up the config. Now the author has done a really great job through this whole plugin in really stepping you through how to set everything up, and then there's great comments in here on how all of this works together. You can disable some statistics in here. I'm really not going to point anything particular out here. You can disable stats if you're using large bungee networks. That would probably what you want to do. You can enable Vault to tie directly into your economy rather than using the plugin economy. You can put in invitation messages. You can do auto join. So if you have it on a network and then they just teleport over to it, it automatically joins that racing, all that stuff. There's all the block commands, minimum, maximum players, keep player stats. So if you're running on a server that's like a faction or skyblock, when they leave, they immediately go back to where they came from, which is really cool. Here's kind of where you can change. You can run custom commands at the end of a game, like if you want to give them a token or a key or money or broadcast who won. You have your first and last variable in there. You also have second, third, and last. Like I said, the author has really done such a great job in commenting all of these configuration files. Now the purchases is where you can set up all the purchase prices. Pretty straightforward, not a whole lot. You can't really modify the achievement system at this time, but one of the great things about this author is it's very active, and they're actively adding to this plugin and growing it every day, which is really cool. If you have any problems, post on their page, and I'm sure they'll get around to fixing that or assisting with bug fixing, all that stuff. Let's hop back into the game, and I'll show you guys how it all works. Okay, so here we are. A couple things I figured out. One, the time limit is in seconds, so keep that in mind. Two, I had to reboot in between setting it all up and then when I could join. Once we're in here, we can do MR and we can join. Now it is set the spawn of the lobby of wherever we were sitting when we did the set lobby, so we don't have to select the area first. It's only when you set the region that you have to select the area. Then we're getting evil in here, and now that he's in here, we can now vote. We can do MR vote, vote for test. Now we've voted for test, and it's going to start in 33 seconds. Now, if there's more people in, it would, you would need to have more people to vote for it. And if you have more arenas, they could vote for whatever arena they wanted to, which is really cool. Okay, so here we are at the vehicle selection. If we try to select the cow, we don't have enough points to select this cow, so we have to pick a different one. Now, the pig doesn't require any points to use, so we're going to select that one. And then Doppel is going to select the minecart. And now that they're both in there, it's going to start. The race will start very soon. If the person did not select one of those, I believe it would just give them the minecart by default. Now we're going to show you guys the items here in a second. You can see the ranking on the right and the all that stuff. So we have a fireball, which is really cool. Here's our speed boost, and that's 2. And then I think this one is 4. And there we go. And now this one is a -2, so it's going to slow people down when they're on it. Maybe only do 1 block on that one. And then here's another speed boost. Now it's really cool because you can set that speed boost per arena. So we're going to use the fireball. It pops him up, and then there's our second lap. And now we get a cloud, so when we lay that one down, it's gonna, it's following us around. I'm really not sure what that one does. I still haven't seen all of these, and I've been testing these for a little bit, so there's a lot of items, which is really cool. And we're slowing down. I think the cloud slowed us down, which is interesting. So we're gonna win the arena here in a second, and then we'll have Doppel finish it, and I'll show you guys all that. See that our time, they gave us some points, which is really cool. Now he's going to go. I didn't show you that when you right-click to jump off of your mob or anything of that effect, it immediately it teleports you back to the last checkpoint that you went through. All right, so that is the end. I have won. It has shot the fireworks up, and it actually just drops you back up into voting so we can go on to another race. Now, you can have it where it automatically kicks them out so they leave, and then that teleports us to that leave area. So that's about it. Like I said, it's pretty it could do a lot, but it's actually not too complicated to set up. The author has done a lot to help you guys out and get started, and he's actively developing it, which is really cool. It is a premium plugin, so you do have to log into Spigot first. Don't ask me to give it to you because that would be stealing. And I hope you found this helpful. Feel free to like because that helps me out. And this is Kaz from McFriends, reminding you guys all, enjoy the game. God bless. It's my birthday today. Yay!